Good evening, guys. Someone asking about how to do a script, like a split font for a script font, and I'm going to show you real quick how to do one. And she said she was trying to do a script L, and so I'm using Carrolina Script, which is in the current little font bundle on fontbundles.net, and I will post a link and the discount code in the comments, so make sure you look for that. But I'm going to type my L and I'm going to change my font to Carrolina Script. Carolina, however you want to say it. And I want it to fit on my mat. It's just easier for me if I make it full size. So you can see with some fonts the max height is the same as the longest glyph, and so we've got this extra space, so it says it's 24 inches, but it's really not 24 inches. So if you right click it and make it a compound path, it gives you its exact dimensions, and then I can go to transform, keep on the lock there, and I can change it. So I'm going to make it 12 inches tall. And so what I do is I take my width, so my width is 7.9, and I'm going to draw a box, and I'm going to change the dimensions to, I'm going to turn off the lock, I want to make it 7.9, and there's other ways you can do this. This is kind of how I do it, so just play around with it, and I'm going to do it by 2 inches high and apply. So that gives me a box, and I'm going to fill that with transparency and make my cut lines red. I don't know why this does blue. Let's default to black. That's my favorite. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to take this box and kind of figure out where I want to split my font. So if you fill it in white, you can kind of get an idea of what it's going to look like when you do your split. So we could do it here, we could do a split here. I kind of like it right in the middle here. Let me go up a little so you can kind of get an idea of where it's going to split. I'm going to drag my mouse over them so that I'm selecting both of them, and then I want to open my modify tool, and here you can see our different choices, and I'm going to choose subtract. And now you see that I have two separate pieces. I want to go ahead and right click and group those together so that they don't get off track of where they're supposed to be. If you don't group them, you could accidentally resize one or move one and not want to do it. So let's say you've done this and you don't like where you put it. Up here you have the undo tool. So the first undo is going to ungroup them. The next undo is going to unsubtract them. So we could move this. Oh, I'm still double grouped here. We could move this one down a little bit, and I think I kind of like that one a little bit more. Again, select both and subtract, and right click and group. And you could make your little box more narrow if you wanted to, so that you can get this part of the L and this swoop here together. But 2 inches tall on a 12-inch letter is typically my go-to. So you have a few options. I could come in here and type my name, and I'm just going to pick a random font. Doesn't really matter what you choose. So I could take this and put this inside of the letter and do that, and so I kind of have that split. I could do it in the same font. I usually don't recommend that. It looks kind of funny when they're the same. It's just not, I'm just not a fan of that. But you can play around with your different fonts and find one that you like. And just put that in there. And so there's another thing that you could do if you wanted to. So there's kind of not a border around the name. So what I do is I take the box tool and I draw a box, and I want to make it the same width as my letter, which again we're going to go over here, make sure our lock is off, and our letter was, now I forgot, 7.9. Make this 7.9, and for height I'm going to make it 0.186 and apply. So now we have a box. I'm going to right click and I'm going to click duplicate. So now I have two of these. Let's make them, well, let's leave them blue for right now so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to take this and put it in here. Take this one and put it here, and I'm not going to move them into place yet. I want to select all of them. I'm here in my transform box. That's this one right here under the text style menu. I'm going to click on align and align center. So that's going to make sure that these two bars are lined up with the center of the L. And then I want to take this one and I'm just going to nudge it with my keyboard. So I'm using the up arrow on my keyboard. And you want to nudge those until they are exactly where you want them. And you want them to touch the letter. So see this gap here? You don't want the gap. Move it down so it touches the letter. Take this one, I want to move it up until it touches the letter. I'm going to zoom back out, and I'm going to select everything, right click, and I'm going to make compound path. I'm sorry, I'm going to undo that with my undo tool. Right click, weld. And so now we have our pieces, and again they're separate pieces, so we're going to right click, group, then you can come back in, put your name in. Again, you can use that align tool, center it up, and then I often nudge with my mouse. And there you go. There you have made a split monogram out of any font you have on your computer. If you guys have any questions, just let me know. Thanks.